Hello, I'm Evan Brand, functional medicine practitioner. Let's talk about Hashimoto's thyroiditis. This is an autoimmune condition that affects many millions of men and women across the planet, but especially here in the US, this is a problem that goes undiagnosed. In fact, 90+% of women who have been diagnosed with hypothyroidism, this is low thyroid function, do not realize that it's actually Hashimoto's, which is the autoimmune condition where the immune system attacks the thyroid gland. What I recommend you do if you've not had your thyroid antibodies checked, get them tested. You want to ask for the TPO and you want to ask for the TG antibodies. There's also another marker that can be very helpful called TSI. It's a lot more expensive to run, but it can also provide value. I'm going to pop up a couple of lab results on the screen here that I reviewed from a new client of mine who has Hashimoto's, has been confirmed. She wanted to figure out, well, what are some of the root causes? First, I'm going to bring up this thyroid panel here. The reference range for the TPO is 0 to 34. This lady's here at 76. Now you're going to see the thyroglobulin antibodies. The reference range ideally is below 1, and our female client here is 960, incredibly high. We know the thyroid is definitely getting attacked. We see first here on her stool test that she's got multiple infections, and so there's a very common bacterial infection I see with a lot of women that have Hashimoto's called Klebsiella pneumoniae, and we do see here that she does have this on her stool test. I run this on every new client, this test, because it's so valuable with the infections that it finds. It can really actually explain almost all autoimmune diseases. You've got this whole category of autoimmune triggers. You've got your Proteus species, you've got your Klebsiella, and your Citrobacter. So whether we're talking about something like ankylosing spondylitis, we're talking about RA, we're talking about MS, or any other type of autoimmune condition, all these autoimmune diseases can, in some cases, be tracked back to just a single species of bacterial overgrowth. So for her, we find the very common link between Klebsiella and Hashimoto's. Now, we also see some other infections. We see two parasites here, Blastocystis hominis, and we see Dentamoeba fragilis. We've got to fix these. Without fixing these infections, these parasitic bugs, likely the immune system will stay suppressed and the attack on the thyroid will continue to happen until, unfortunately, in some cases, there's a massive destruction of the thyroid tissue where a permanent life sentence, essentially, of some type of thyroid medication may be necessary, whether it's a natural or a synthetic thyroid drug. We can prevent that if we attack this and we get towards resolving the infections as quick as possible. We also see geotrichum here, which is a fungal overgrowth. Now, fungus can create different problems for people. It's not typically the biggest factor, but in some cases it is. Either way, you don't want any of these bugs going on in the gut. So let's count this up. We've got bacterial infections, two parasites, and a fungus. Now, lastly, we're going to go over here to the organic acids panel, which is a urine test I run on every new client. You do first morning's urine sample at home, and you send this back to the lab. These are all at-home tests, by the way, that we've reviewed here, except for the first one that was the blood. Now, we see that she's got arabinose. Arabinose is the gas that Candida produces. She has a yeast overgrowth in her gut. Now, she's had recurring UTIs, urinary tract infections, and often that could be related to just a systemic Candida overgrowth like we see here. Now, conventional doctors, what they're going to do is prescribe something like a diflucan, which is a natural, no, it's not, sorry, it's not natural. It is a unnatural, it's a synthetic drug that tries to kill off Candida. Here's the problem. Just like we have antibiotic-resistant bacteria, we have antifungal or antibiotic-resistant yeast and fungal species, meaning these conventional drugs do not work, and people take them and they end up in a worse situation than they did before they started the prescription. This is why I use herbs in my practice, and that's all that I've needed to successfully eradicate overgrowth, parasites, bacteria, fungus, yeast, all of it. Either way, we're going to clear this up. Our plan is to retest the blood, and we're going to see those thyroid markers drop pretty rapidly. Now, can we get it down to a state where she no longer has an autoimmune attack on the thyroid? Possibly. It really just depends. It depends on how well she's sleeping and the diet piece, making sure there's no gluten or dairy in the diet, making sure that she's got good relationships, and if there's bad people in her life, she's getting them out. Making sure that her stress levels are under control and she's doing things actively like exercise and spending time in nature and playing the drums or listening to music, whatever you love doing. Those are the things that we have to do. So the lifestyle medicine piece is just as important as the herbal protocol that I will create to give to her. This is a true functional medicine approach. I hope this has been helpful. If you want to get help yourself, reach out to myself, contact my office. You can just click on screen here. We look forward to helping you out soon. Take care. Bye-bye.